Now it's time for Lefties Losing It, and good news from Canada, where the king of performative caring, the neo-Marxist Ken Dole himself, Justin Trudeau, is floundering in the polls, and he's now lashing out at people rejecting far-left parties.
We have seen around the world a rise of populist right-wing forces in just about every democracy that we've seen. And it is of concern to see political parties choosing to instrumentalize anger, fear, division, anxiety.
So there you go. The swing to the right is all due to anger, fear, division and anxiety, precisely what Trudeau pushed with his hard left policies for the past 9 years. Never forget, this is the monster who falsely branded Canadian truckers as extremists and white supremacists and then froze their bank accounts. Adios, Fidel Jr. Now to the leader of the free world, whose cognitive decline is obvious, whether he is standing still, he's glitching there, or when he tries to utter a rehearsed sentence. Here he again mixes up Ukraine with Iraq.
The idea that we become semi-isolationists now, which some are talking about, I mean, the idea we had to wait all those months just to get the money for Iraq because we were waiting. I mean, it's not who we are.
Now, they say dogs are good judges of people, and we know Joe Biden has had some big issues with his dogs going rogue and biting various people. Maybe the poor dog was angry because the leader of the free world keeps pulling his tail. And it seems the president's issues with the canine community extend beyond his own dogs. Watch this based dog lose it when Biden appears on TV.
I don't know what kind of political status my dog is, right? There's Donald Trump. Do you see Donald Trump?
That's what you are.
Yeah.
With your help, we're going to win Nevada. We're going to defeat.
He's cool.
Your Biden-loving
Right?
radical left senator.
Who is that? Who is that?
Welcome to the world.
I'm telling you. Molly, relax. Relax. It's just Joe Biden. Wait up. She really doesn't like. She just saw him and she doesn't like him. Here we go. Joe Biden. Relax. She really doesn't like him. I don't know. I think my dog is a Republican. Relax, Molly. Relax, Molly. Relax, Molly. Molly. Molly, relax. Relax.
Molly is a good dog. Molly deserves more treats. Now, there are a lot of lefties who are trying to rewrite history and memory hole the monstrous things they said and advocated for during the COVID era. And two such men are the Cuomo brothers, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo and former CNN anchor Chris Cuomo, who got called out for this BS on the PBD podcast. Here he is with Dave Smith.
There was so much talk that they don't want you to take ivermectin. Ivermectin is the way to go. Take it. Joe Rogan got better from ivermectin. And by the way, I don't like what people did to Joe Rogan about ivermectin. I don't like it.
You did it.
No. Okay,
yes, you did.
Find the clips.
Dude, find the clips. You shamed Joe Rogan.
Find the
you
clips.
said he's taking horse dewormer. You and Don Lemon were chuckling at each other about it.
No,
I'll go find
first
the
of all,
clip.
you just saw the clips.
I watched
I'm
it.
not chuckling. I'm listening to Don. But
No. The
here's
clip
point.
I'm talking about wasn't on there, and it's absolutely there. Here, do we have it? Hold on. Let's play the clip.
Go ahead.
Injecting drugs for animals and horse.
And people telling them to. Oh, my God. What person? You know, you talk about, cancel culture and who to shame. Ivermectin, a dewormer, really?
They are shaming themselves.
That's what it is.
They're shaming themselves.
So you're taking a dewormer right now.
This
Chris, you can't apologize for that. You weren't being clear that it was this, and you know that, dude. You're being so dishonest right now, man.
Chris Cuomo is now telling us he's taking ivermectin. Okay, dude, when it actually mattered, you were a coward and a bully during the COVID era. Don't pretend to be red-pilled now. President Joe Biden's son, the drug-addled whore enthusiast Hunter Biden, is now a convicted felon after a jury in Delaware found him guilty. This CNN reporter seemed a little bit crestfallen by the development.
Well, the jury has found Hunter Biden, the president's son, guilty on all 3 counts in this case after 3 hours of deliberation. Count 1 is a false statement in the purchase of a firearm. Count 2 is false statement related to information required to be kept by a federal firearms license dealer. Count 3 is possession of a firearm by a person who is an unlawful user or addicted to a controlled substance. So he has been found guilty on all 3 counts.
Now, the Hunter trial was a bit different to the Trump trial. First, Hunter's judge wasn't a activist who had donated to the Republicans. That's a big difference. And his prosecutor didn't campaign on a Get Hunter platform, as happened in New York, or create charges out of thin air to get him. Indeed, Hunter has been protected throughout, with the Department of Justice allowing the statute of limitations to expire on far more serious tax charges he was facing. And they've also declined to pursue him over even more serious bribery allegations. Both of those cases would possibly uncover the Biden family's dodgy business dealings with the big guy, Joe Biden, in the middle of the entire influence peddling scheme. And let's not forget, they did try to give Hunter a sweet plea deal that fell apart. Now, let's also not forget that the bulk of the media, Joe Biden himself, and America's intelligence community were part of a massive disinformation campaign claiming that Hunter Biden's laptop and all the evidence it contained was Russian disinformation.
One of the hallmarks of any sort of disinformation is you can't give it directly to somebody that is your target audience. So you need to find a way to essentially launder that disinformation.
This looks like your classic disinformation campaign: steal the information with a cyber attack, get the emails from Hunter Biden's account, and then put them on these laptops that are left at a repair store. And that's how the information is now laundered.
Damn. You know a story is shady when Facebook is saying, whoa, 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 whoa. Maybe people shouldn't see this.
50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant. This is classic Trump. We have 4 days left, and all of a sudden there's a laptop. It's a last-ditch effort in this desperate campaign to smear me and my family. The vast majority of the intelligence people have come out and said there's no basis at all.
I still think that the stories from the fall about your son Hunter were Russian disinformation and a smear campaign, like you said.
Yes, yes, yes.
It is just straight-out election interference. It saw a legitimate, 100% accurate story by the New York Post branded Russian disinformation. And you'll recall the spies who lie, the intelligence experts that Joe Biden kept referring to there, who signed a letter saying the laptop was fake news. And we had President Biden claiming that not only was Hunter Biden the smartest man he knows, but also the most decent.
Hunter's my heart. And Hunter's been through some tough times, but he's fighting. He's fighting. He's never given up. He's the most honorable, decent person I know.
Most honourable, decent person he knows, this crack-addled whore enthusiast who has not even met his daughter, his 5-year-old daughter. Joining me now is journalist and filmmaker Ami Horowitz. Ami, he's been convicted. He faces a maximum prison sentence of 25 years. That's highly unlikely. President Biden has said that he would not pardon his son if he was convicted, but will he change course now, given that Hunter could face a possible prison term?
Yeah, by the way, it is always remarkable to me to watch Biden from 3 years ago, listening to him speak, and Joe Biden now. God, the deterioration is so clear. It's amazing. Look, Joe Biden is in a bit of a pickle. He has to agree that this was the right decision, because he spent the last year talking about how if you say that the justice system doesn't work, you are undermining the U.S. democratic institutions, right? We remember that? Again, coming from a man who spent the last 3 years demonizing the Supreme Court, saying it's an illegitimate institution, and then threatening to pack it. So, look, this wasn't how open and shut a case was this, Rita? Let me tell you. This was done in Delaware, right? Wilmington, Delaware, his hometown. He won this town by 90%. Some context for you. Yeah, no kidding. Context, Putin won his election by less than that. That's how serious a player he is in Delaware, yet he was still convicted. It shows you this was really an open and shut, clear-cut case.
Well, it was all on tape, a lot of it. So there was so much evidence on that laptop that Hunter Biden had helpfully amassed for the prosecution. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that even that jury pool that is so heavily Democrat came back with this decision, and in very quick time as well. Now, here is a woman who was protesting peacefully outside the courtroom. She says she served 5 years after being found guilty of similar offences.
I'm out here because I lost my children. I lost my home. I spent 5 years in jail for abbreviated serial numbers.
And we saw President Biden make an unscheduled stop in Delaware to see his son Hunter and his grandson. Yeah, let's Hunter get the kid away from the grandpa. At least it's one child, one of Hunter's offspring that the president is acknowledging. This is one of the things that has shocked me throughout this presidency, is that it is just so callous of the first family, not just Hunter Biden, but also Joe and Jill, that they talk about their grandchildren incessantly, and yet they don't acknowledge this little girl down in Arkansas. They've never met her. The father hasn't met her. He tried not to support her financially. And that seems to be just brushed over in the media. And I cannot imagine that would be happening if this was happening within the Trump family.
No, you're absolutely right. Of course it wouldn't. The double standard is obvious. They even sued to make sure the kid couldn't use the Biden name. Because if they did, you probably end up making money from the Chinese at some point. They don't want to give that piece of the pie away.
Good point. Now, Democrat Senator John Fetterman is drifting further and further away from his past political positions. He was once radically left, but now he says he's no longer a progressive.
Some progressives have criticized you for being a different senator than you suggested you would be when you were a candidate for Senate. What do you say to that?
Well, I wasn't. I was very clear for saying that for years I'm not a progressive, and I just identified myself as just a regular Democrat. So it really wasn't any new news. Now, 8 years ago, I was a progressive, but the situation's changed, and I've been very clear that I didn't leave that label. That label left me.
And that progressive label is now owned by the likes of these imbeciles marching on American soil, calling for Hezbollah, a terrorist group, to kill Zionists. Army, how is that allowed to happen? I'm all for free speech, for protest, for peaceful protest, but when you're calling on terrorists to kill Zionists, which is what they were chanting there, that crosses the line, I would have thought.
Yeah, let's do that one first, and then we'll go back to Fetterman real quick, because I have some thoughts on that as well. Look, this is no shock. This is not about Israel. It really isn't. This is really the anti-Semitism gets to be on full display. It's the quiet part out loud. Now, this is about the intersexual coalition, which has had institutional anti-Semitism built into it by definition. For people who don't know, this is important. Intersectionality is the idea that all victims are connected through their victimhood, and there's a pyramid of oppression. And the higher you up in the pyramid, the more you are an oppressor. So what that says to them, because it's a Marxist ideology, says to them that Jews, because they are perceived by the left, by the intersectional coalition, to be on the higher end, if not the tippy top of that pyramid, by definition, they are the biggest oppressors. Therefore, they're allowed to call for the killing of Zionists and Jews because they are the fascist oppressors. Now, to get back to Fetterman, which I find endlessly fascinating. Rita, I am a full-on Fetterhead. I admit that, okay? Fetterman is somebody who the Democratic Party should be modeling themselves after if they want to win, right? Kristen Sinema, another example of somebody who was progressive, who moved to the center. She is now no longer running because she doesn't feel at home the Democratic Party. But they're not. They're leaning into the progressive label. Fetterman is an unbelievable case study of this. Look, he was a progressive. He, in fact, sought out the endorsement of the Democratic Socialist Party at one point. At one point, look, he has become a full-on Zionist, talking the border. At one point, he actually pointed to his wife's undocumented status to show his progressive bona fides. Fetterman's amazing. Fetterman himself has said, I ended up leaving the Progressive Party after my brain damage. I'm going to leave that one alone.
It's incredible, the transformation, and he referred to 8 years ago he's departed from those positions, but I think it's far more recent. Just even a few years ago, 3 years ago, some of those positions he seemed to hold, he's done a radical 180 turn away from them. So yeah, he has become one of the more rational Democrats, sort of the counter to the squad. Now, what about these protesters we saw outside the White House? There seemed to be little consequences for the way they defaced public property, desecrated monuments, attacked officers, and again chanted for intifada and for the killing of Zionists. Why is there this continued tolerance? The Biden administration occasionally comes out and condemns this sort of behaviour, but they're largely allowed to run riot.
Yeah, look, they're simply the administration simply does not want to continue having problems on their left flank. And that if they would start arresting people for things like that, they would have more trouble, and they already have. But unfortunately, what their miscalculation is, it's that kind of behavior which is losing them the election with the more important constituency, which is the independents. The independents look at this and they are disgusted by it. It reminds me of the Black Lives. Look, I was walking around. I went to every major Black Lives Matter riot and rally, and everywhere I saw was defaced, and I didn't see a single arrest of somebody who defaced property, federal, state, local property. It's the same idea. They simply do not want to piss off the left flank.
Ami Horowitz, you are always on the money. Thank you for your time this evening.
Always a pleasure.